morning, Achievement House. Welcome to the Morning Buzz. Once again, it's from our home to your home. How you doing, Miss Heptelli?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Mr. Martin. How are you?
Let's do it. That's great. I feel great. I stayed home, took my walks, was feeling healthy. All is good. So, for this segment of little known facts, what I want to talk about is, can you see it? M&M's stands for Mars and Murray. Forrest Mars, Bruce Murray. Back in the 30s, Forrest Mars, son of the founder of the Mars chocolate company, had a falling out with his dad. So he goes to Europe, starts to start a business. And this is around the 1930s. And it was during the Spanish Civil War. And he had noticed that some of the British soldiers were eating this little bead of chocolate that had this kind of outer shell. And he got this idea, said, I'm going to start that. So he comes back to the States, actually sets up a manufacturing facility in New Jersey. But he also, remember, he had that falling out with his dad. So he needed to get chocolate somewhere. So he hooks up with Bruce Murray. Bruce was the son of the president of Hershey chocolate. So Hershey's the one who's feeding him all the chocolate. And for about 7, 8 years, this worked out great. But then they had a falling out, and Mr. Murray left the business, and it was run by Forrest May. And he was back in good graces with his dad, and they were feeding all the chocolate that they needed. So again, Mars and Murray. So a couple other just interesting facts about M&Ms. Remember, he first saw it was the British soldiers. Well, back during World War II, they exclusively sold all their M&Ms to the U.S. military. Again, were heat resistant. They could stand some rough terrain. It was easy to ship. So for years, that's all they sold to was the U.S. military.
I hope you and your family are staying well in these challenging times when we have this coronavirus 19 that we have to watch out for. Well, there's some common sense things that you can do for your body to keep it healthy. And one of those is to make sure that you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. Not only eating well, but a lot of fruits and vegetables help the immune system. And you want to stay hydrated. They're saying eight cups of water a day would be good, and 8 ounces. So it's kind of like the 8 by 8 method they talk about. And so you want to just make sure you're hydrated, that your blood is flowing right into all your organs, and it just makes, again, your immune system be a little stronger. You want to make sure you get enough exercise. We're home more, but we can get out in the yard or walk around the house. 30 minutes a day is what they recommend. And we also want to make sure we get enough sleep, because sleep kind of recharges us for the next day. And so if we don't get enough and we stay up late night after night, our body's going to get run down, and we're going to be more likely to pick up the flu, the colds, or this new virus, the COVID-19. They've given us tips for this virus, the COVID-19 virus. Number one, obviously we all know this, stay home as much as possible. If you have to go to the grocery store, wear a mask, not just to protect you, but to protect the people that are serving you or stocking the shelves, that kind of thing. And also, you want to make sure that you stay 6 feet apart, the social distancing that they talk about, because the way it's transmitted is droplets. Like if I speak or cough, you might get a droplet on you, and then you might catch it. And the other thing is, washing your hands, because you're touching things. If you go out to a store, you want to wash your hands when you come home. After you take your mask off, wash your hands, because you've touched a lot of things, like I was saying. And you want to make sure you do it for 20 seconds. You can sing happy birthday twice. We've talked about this before. It's kind of seems like a long time, but it's necessary to get everything off of your hands. And when you cough, you want to cough into your shoulder, into your arm, so the droplets don't spread. And also, you want to make sure that if you're sick, you want to stay away from other family members. You want to quarantine yourself. We're actually being quarantined as we stay in, but we want to make sure that if we're sick, we're away from other family members. And of course, we want to call a doctor and let them know what's going on, the symptoms you have. 80% of these people 80% of the people get over this without anything but over-the-counter medications to bring their fever down. So that's very encouraging. So I hope that these tips help you out, and I hope you'll follow them and that we'll be safe and be healthy.
1950. That's when they first started putting the little M on the candy. It was first done in a dark color and they couldn't see it, so they actually made it white. But I think the most interesting fact of all was, and probably only a few will remember this, no, none of your students do, but maybe your parents. From 1976 to 1987, they did not produce any of these red M&Ms. The reason for that is that in Russia, there was a study that put a link between red dye number 2 with cancer. And our own federal Food and Drug Administration did their own study. And although they couldn't find really conclusive results, there's enough reason to maybe have red dye number 2 just taken off the market. Well, M&Ms didn't even use that dye, but because of the red M&Ms, they thought, let's get rid of them. Nobody's going to want to buy our M&Ms. So that went on for about 11 years. Well, truth be told, they weren't any reasons for cancer in this red number 2 red dye, and they put them back in circulation. Now it's the leading M&M on the bag. So, it's kind of hard to believe that Russia would have started some sort of theory that would make M&Ms, especially red M&Ms, something you wouldn't want to eat. So go figure. That's your little news item tip of the day. Now let's turn it over to Ms. Sabtelli.
Well, thank you. I kind of like the fact that they didn't do red M&Ms for a while because I have an allergy to red dye, so I'm a little torn with that piece of information, Mr. Warren.
Well, I appreciate you giving another side to it. That's great.
We have some important dates coming up. On Tuesday, April 21st, there will be 2 parent orientation times, one in the afternoon at 1 p.m. and then a second parent orientation at 7 p.m. The following day, Wednesday, April 22nd, is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. So cue the composting, recycling, repurposing, carpooling, thrifting, and metal straws to save the turtles.
I actually remember when there was the first Earth Day 50 years ago. I was actually in high school at the time, and I think our school planted a tree. Hey, it's been around a long time. I really wish every day was treated as Earth Day. I mean, that's how important it is. But I think it's also just appropriate to remember, hey, we've been doing this for 50 years, and I think it's a great cause. So at this point, let's turn it over to our favorite weather person, Mrs. Mikuski.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. Mrs. M here. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about climate, more so than weather. With Earth Day approaching very soon, I thought it would be really interesting to look into our current situation and how that is affecting our air pollution. Today, with most of the world working from home and staying inside, that's leading to a lot of less cars and trucks on the road, and thus it is changing some of our air pollution very drastically. In the United States, California was one of the first affected states with COVID-19. As a result, their stay-at-home order has been in effect the longest. During this pandemic, they have had different companies and different universities taking measurements and running studies on the measure of air pollution during the COVID-19 pandemic. As you can see, across the board, air pollution is down, with nitrogen dioxide down 26%, carbon monoxide down 24%, and even fine particulate matter is down a whopping 35% across the board. Overall, this study that we saw in California is being seen across the world as a majority of people are staying at home and playing it safe. With the lack of people out and about there's less trains, less planes, less cars, and thus producing a lot less greenhouse gases. So, as we approach Wednesday, make it a great Earth Day. Back to you, Miss Sabatelli, and stay safe.
Thank you, Mrs. Mastauskas, for your weather report today. This week on the You Be Long podcast, tune in for the first installment of how students and staff are dealing with social distancing and home quarantine.
And that's our show for Monday, April 20th. Thanks for watching. Again, stay home, be healthy, do your schoolwork, and make it a great week. Take care, everybody.